This is undoubtedly one of the more unusual exhibits in the Brooklands Museum. Due to its fragility and size, it's one which is not often on display. But that's rather a shame, because this is an important tribute to one of the most remarkable airmen in the Brooklands story. The sculpture is about 90 centimetres high and made of dark bronze. It depicts a naked man striving to climb onto the back of Pegasus, the flying horse that is trying to escape from the attraction of gravity, represented here by a clutching female figure emerging from a half globe. The whole thing is, for some reason, set upon a plaster representation of a tree trunk. The bronze was commissioned from the French sculptor Paul Moreau-Vautier by the Michelin Tire Company for its British Empire Michelin Cup. This trophy was to be awarded annually from 1909 for record long-distance flights by British Empire pilots flying British manufactured aircraft. In subsequent years, the defining rules of the award changed somewhat, with the challenge in 1912 being to keep aloft for the longest possible time between sunrise and sunset. In June of that year, at Brooklands, a young Australian mechanic called Harry Hawker had just joined the new Sopwith Aviation company. Hawker was determined to fly, and he convinced his boss, Tom Sopwith, to teach him. With scarcely a month to go before the Michelin competition, Hawker gained his Royal Aero Club Aviator's Certificate and set to perfecting a cunning plan to maximise the flight endurance of Sopwith's much modified Burgess Wright biplane. Hawker's plan was to take off and climb as high as possible into thinner air to reduce drag and thus fuel consumption. He would then cut the engine, glide down as slowly as he could without stalling, before then starting the process all over again. It took him several attempts to perfect this technique, but by the 24th of October he was ready to try for the record, and he took off in the still morning air. Hawker was not without competition at Brooklands that day. Fellow pilot Freddie Raynham, in an Avro Type G biplane, was also trying for the Michelin Cup and the substantial cash prize which went with it. But Raynham eventually had to land, after 7.5 hours, when his Avro ran out of lubricating oil, thereby leaving Hawker to add almost another hour to his time and therefore claim the prize. The inscription on the base of this trophy reads as follows: H.G. Hawker, Brooklands, 24th of October 1912, time 8 hours 23 minutes. Hawker had broken the previous year's record, set by Samuel Cody at Farnborough, by more than 3 hours. In doing so, he had also established the reputation of his flying skills and earned himself the post of Sopwith's chief test pilot. He became a key member of Sopwith's team as the company moved its base from Brooklands to Canbury Park Road in Kingston upon Thames, and he contributed much to the design and development of aircraft such as the Tabloid, the Pup and the Camel. After the First World War, it was Hawker and his navigator, Kenneth Mackenzie Grieve, in their Sopwith Atlantic aircraft, who were the first to set off from Newfoundland in May 1919 in an attempt to make the first non-stop crossing of the Atlantic Ocean. Unfortunately, engine problems defeated their attempt, leaving it to John Alcock and Arthur Whitten Brown in their Brooklands Vimy to complete the first successful flight the following month. Back in the UK, Harry Hawker gave his name to the H.G. Hawker engineering firm, which he, Tom Sopwith and others set up in 1920 after having to dissolve the original Sopwith Aviation Company in the aftermath of the First World War. But tragically, Harry Hawker's life was soon cut short when, in July 1921, the aircraft in which he was practising for an air show crashed near Hendon in North London, and he was killed, leaving a widow and 2 young daughters. Harry Hawker is buried in St Paul's Churchyard at Hook in Surrey, not far from Kingston upon Thames and just across the road from where he lived.